I'd like to bring in Sanjay D Naik. He's Chief General Manager and Head of International Banking for the State Bank of India. Sanjay, wonderful to have some time with you, sir. And please, can you paint a picture for us, first and foremost, of how you're using technology in the here and now as sort of a differentiator for State Bank of India?
Yeah, before I answer that question, I'll just give a brief background about what State Bank of India is about. This bank has got a 200-year-old ancestry. Although formally we came to be known as State Bank of India only in 1955, and we have been always the largest bank in India. We are always having more than 25% market share in this country. However, in the mid-90s, as the banking sector started opening up and new banks started coming in, we decided to reinvent ourselves by adopting technology. And now I will answer your question. So as the 21st century arrived in the world, we decided to network all our branches. At that point of time, we were having about 17,000 branches. We networked all them together, and we came on what is known as a core banking solution. Today, it is a very generic kind of platform. But in those days, 20 years ago, at least in India, it was a big thing. The new generation banks were having the core banking platform, but legacy banks were not having. They were having branch-specific IT platform. So we went for that core banking solution, and then that was a game changer. Soon thereafter, in the first decade of 21st century, we introduced internet banking, which is known as online banking, online SBI, which even today is the most popular internet banking platform in India. And as mobile usage increased in India, we decided to go for mobile banking. So in September 2017, we came out with a very iconic mobile app, which is called YONO. YONO is the omnibus app, which uses, which makes available regular banking as well as a financial super store. That is, a customer can buy insurance, mutual fund, and credit card through that app, as well as marketplace. Means a customer can approach various vendors and do the shopping also through that app. So it is an omnibus app, and it was rolled out in September 17. So this enabled us to reinvent ourselves, rejuvenate ourselves. I would not say that we were the only banks to do it, but among the legacy banks, we were the first one to do it, and that way we kept our market share not only intact, but we started growing also.
How do you think COVID, in many ways, this health crisis worldwide has fast-forwarded many of the digital innovations and brought people up to speed with wanting to use them, perhaps far faster than many expected? Has that been the same case with your Omnibus app and some of the other digital provisions that you have?
Yeah, we were having this app in 2017, and it was catching traction. But COVID hastened that process. In India, like in the rest of the world, in March 2020, there was a lockdown, and Indian lockdown was pretty stiff. So though banks were exempted from this lockdown, banks were allowed to work. Almost all the branches of State Bank of India were working. However, our customers were not able to reach because the transportation was shut down. So the customers were confined to their homes. And for doing their banking, they had no option or no choice but to use digital banking. So what happened, the usage of our digital channels like internet banking or mobile banking, it went up. In September 19, 50% of our transactions were routed through digital channels. By September 20, that share went up to 66%. So there was a quantum jump. And even though lockdown has been now more or less relaxed, it is business as usual, more or less in India. In spite of that, that share has remained at 66%, because once customers got accustomed to using the digital channel, they started liking it. And that is the way it is going to remain in future.
How has it stressed the infrastructure that you have? How have you found that everything has been in place where needed? Have you needed to support the infrastructure in the back end more than you had anticipated with the sudden surge in demand?
Yeah, there has been a surge in demand. As I mentioned, in just 6 months' time, the usage went up by 10%. But when we designed the infrastructure, we had already built in some kind of a redundancy. However, the response was much more than what we had envisaged. So there were some issues, but they were not of such nature that customer really faced any difficulty. And we are constantly upgrading our infrastructure. So there has not been any challenge on that front.
Okay, and what's really interesting for many of our audience, I think, is how the fact that you're an emerging market might have actually fast forward some of the steps you've taken. The fact that you didn't have legacy infrastructure to quite the extent that perhaps US, UK might Can you tell us about how you think being based in India and an Indian bank has helped or hindered you with your process of going digital?
Yeah, I would definitely say that being in an emerging market has helped us. That was a great advantage because we did not have the kind of legacy systems which banks in Western countries were having or are having. We started more or less with a clean slate, and we could upgrade our infrastructure quickly with the modern technology which is available. So that has been an advantage. And more importantly, in India, because of the necessity, the government as well as the regulator, they have developed a good ecosystem which helps the digital banking. For example, we have got what is called India Stack. By India Stack, I mean there are several interoperable APIs like for KYC or for our national identity card, which is known as Aadhaar. So because of that, it is comparatively easy for a customer to complete the KYC through digital channel. So this has been of real great help to the banks in India, which probably is not available in some countries as of now. So indeed, having our roots in India, which is an emerging market, has really helped us, no doubt about it.
That's really fascinating in terms of the way it's helped you leapfrog to a certain degree. Let's talk about sort of really hardcore geek out technology right now, because this is where IBM Watson is really renowned as the area of quantum computing, and AI is really an area that's being embraced. We've just been talking about JP Morgan, how they're looking at blockchain in particular. How are you using these particular next level part of computing into SBI at the moment?
Uh, we use machine learning in a big way, and we have got what is called a business analytics department, which creates or which develops number of models. These models are based upon the customer behavior, the nature of transactions, and those models help us in several ways. They help us in predicting the transactions in the account, the surge that may happen. Then, as far as the credit customers are concerned, it really gives us good idea about the way this account is going to shape up, whether it is going to become a stress asset or it will remain in good shape. Then for our operational infrastructure also, these apps and not only these apps, these models, they are of great help to us. So we use machine learning in a big way. And more importantly, in the business development also, it has proved of great help to us. For example, I mentioned about our YONO app, which is used by our customers, by our retail customers. We release loans through this app. So we have got what is known as a pre-approved personal loan product, which is developed, or that loan amount is determined on the basis of customers' conduct of account and certain other parameters. And these are all put together by an algorithm. And then we worked out the amount of loan which can be approved for this customer. And then we pre-approve that loan, and customer can draw it just at a click.
So real innovation there, and I'm interested in how you support that from a talent perspective. Obviously, India is renowned for the computing prowess that it offers with Infosys, with Tata Consultancy and the like. We know that India has an awful lot of technology talent. Does it have the tech talent there to support these innovations such as you speak with computer learning and the like?
Yes, certainly. It's a young country, and there are good number of talented engineers available here. So not only we hire engineers on our books, but we also partner with not only Indian but other foreign companies, some American companies also we partner with for developing our IT infrastructure and developing various models, various technological platforms. We are, we look outside the world, outside India also to get that kind of assistance, that kind of a partnership.
Where do you look? Is it all about Silicon Valley? Where is the technology?
We look at Silicon Valley, you look at Europe, we look at America. These are the general places where you get good technology and good products.
Let's talk about what keeps you up at night, the concerns, the threats. This week alone, we saw a key cybersecurity company, FireEye itself, hit by a cyber attack. If they can't prevent them, who knows what risks there are for some of their own clients. Can you talk to us about the hacks, the cybersecurity threats, some of the risks you see to your business and how you offset them?
Yeah, our business is very vulnerable, like any bank. We have also got great vulnerability to cyber incidents. As I mentioned about our mobile app, currently it is being used by 20 million customers. Then our most popular internet banking platform, which is called Online SBI, that is used by 80 million customers. So put together, there are 100 million customers which are using our digital channels. So higher the number, greater the possibility of some kind of attack happening. But we are very careful, and we have invested good amount of money in cyber security area. We have got very top-notch infrastructure. We have got some specialists working for us, and we keep on updating our infrastructure, our barriers. We go on educating our customer. We go on training our frontline and back office staff. So that way, so far, SBI has not faced any major cyber incident.
Okay, but that's very positive news. Long may that last. What about the next level of innovation for you? You've talked about deep tech. You talked about, the prevalence of your app and how you've retained market share and the scale at which you're growing. How do you keep that momentum up? Where do you look next for the next line in innovation?
Yeah, so far this kind of innovation has been happening primarily in the retail area. But retail is not everything for our bank. Retail is just a part of it. It is just one of the verticals of the bank. It is not everything. Uh, Almost 16% of Indians depend upon farming or agriculture. We have to take care of them as well. So our next step will be in developing an app, or in fact, it has already been developed. It is a farming version of Yono app, Yono mobile app. So this mobile app is becoming popular among Indian farmers, and using that app, not only they can do their banking, they can draw loans for their agriculture cultivation purpose. They can get market information about inputs as well as the commodities which they are going to sell. So we are also trying to help the farmers in getting into the mainstream of financial world, and that is going to be the next kind of a milestone for us. Besides that, we are also looking at SMEs, because SME is also a backbone of the economy. More employment is created in SMEs rather than the large corporates. So SMEs are our next destination. So for that, for assessing their credit requirement, we are using lot many algorithms, and we are facilitating the process by which SMEs can access the credit from SBI. And last but not the least, other area where we are focusing for digital innovation or digital intervention is the trade finance. Trade finance is an area which is all over the world, is heavily paper oriented, document oriented. So customers have been saying, all over the world, customers have been saying that banks need to do something. But here, not only banks, there are other players like customs, the shipping companies, which also have to come together. And we are closely engaging with International Chamber of Commerce to develop some kind of arrangement whereby the customers are able to get kind of a very excellent experience while doing trade finance transactions. So these are the kind of areas. Yeah. So these are the areas which we'll be focusing in the immediate future.
Can you give us some insight as to how you're seeing, hopefully, the rebound continue out of the COVID crisis? You talk about serving farmers, you talk about serving SMEs in particular. How optimistic are you about the recovery of the economy, of your economy, and those in which you serve?
See, COVID badly impacted Indian economy just as it affected the rest of the world. Many countries have been impacted. India is no exception. So there was for the first time in our history, we had a massive negative growth or degrowth in the GDP growth. But slowly, growth is returning, and the lockdown has almost been lifted. So with that, economic activity is reviving. You can see in the numbers now, the car sale is going up. The farmers are also taking to the cultivation. This year, the monsoon in India has been very good. So this is a busy season for us. For October, November onwards till March, what is known as the busy season in the Indian economy, and we see good traction in the economic activity in the next 6 months.
What's interesting is, particularly in the developed markets, you're seeing fintech really starting to, rise up and to a certain extent, disrupt banks even more than they'd anticipated. You're seeing the likes of Stripe, the likes of PayPal really becoming alternative to some of the big lenders. How do you see competition evolving in India? You say you maintained your market share, but who do you see snapping at your heels?
Many banks, as I mentioned at the beginning itself, since 1995, this process has been going on in India, where banking sector was opened up, and Reserve Bank of India, the local regulator, has been giving licenses at periodic intervals to new players to set up their offices. So we have got various kinds of entities in the banking sector. We have got full-scale banks. We have got a small finance bank. We have got other fintech companies. So many players are there in the market. As far as we are concerned, we have got a very strong brand equity, and we have been changing with time. So others may grow because this economy itself is growing. So definitely there is a space for everyone. But that doesn't mean that we will ever become dinosaurs. We have changed with times. We have adopted new technology, and that process is continuously going on. So we will continue to be the numero uno bank in this country.
Is the regulation where you need it to be to continue to evolve, to continue to innovate?
There is a regulation, but in all the countries, banking is a highly regulated activity, and India is no exception. There is a good deal of innovation happening here also, and it has happened more in the payment space, not so much in other areas, but payment space, India has made joint stride, very strong strides. For example, I'll give an example. There is a infrastructure known as Unified Payment Infrastructure or Interface. It is called UPI. So this is a very great innovation which came into existence a few years ago. And because of that, using certain apps which are accredited by the regulator, even though you may not have account with particular bank, you can still do transactions among several banks like that. So this is a great innovation that has happened over here. And the regulator has been encouraging innovation in this sector. However, the regulator has also been exercising caution so that health of the banking system or the financial system doesn't get affected.
What do you think about the social media giants looking to provide banking and services and ways of doing e-commerce? Is that something that helps or hinders your business?
See, social media, giants, they will be coming and they have been making efforts to gain entry. Probably they may initially come into payment space, but fine. I mean, ultimately they will get regulated, and there will be a level playing ground because what the rules or regulations which they will follow will be same that we are required to follow. So we are not really afraid of that kind of competition because here the level playing field is level. It is same for everyone. Rules are same for everyone. So I don't envisage any big challenge from the social media giants.
Sanjay, what's your one wish of technology providers, people who support the growth in which you're looking to exert? What do you need now from them to support the growth in your digital business?
They should bring in new technology in this country, and they should partner with established players so that it will be a win-win game for everyone. That is what we would expect. They should bring in the latest cutting-edge technology to this country so that the entire ecosystem benefits from that.
And is there anything you think the world isn't getting about SBI or about your innovation or about India as a place to do banking?
No, we are growing bank. We are a number one bank, and as I said, we are among the top 50 banks in the world. So we are well known in the rest of the world outside India. Also, we have got more than 230 offices. So among the banking fraternity, we are a well known bank.